Just about every single one of you watching me right now has experienced or has been a part of a family squabble, right? These things rarely end up well, and more often than not, somebody in the family, they get kicked out. I want you to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as we describe for you what is happening right now in Saudi Arabia, a country that was just figuratively spanked by arguably the most important foreign affairs leader in the United States of America. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis shocked and embarrassed the Saudi kingdom yesterday with a public ultimatum calling for negotiations within 30 days to talk about an end to the war in Yemen. Mattis was resolute, if nothing else. In fact, here, we've got a piece of this. Take a listen.
Now, war, I will just tell you, I've got a little experience in it, is basically one tragedy piled upon another tragedy. You know, welcome to war. But our goal right now is to achieve a level of capability by those forces fighting against the Houthis that they are not killing innocent people.
So think about this. Here you have a U.S. general and cabinet member lecturing Saudi Arabia in a public forum on what they have to do to clean up their act. And their act, by the way, is very unclean. You have the war in Yemen going south. You have the entire world with almost a drop-jaw reaction to reports that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia had Jamal Kashoggi strangled and mutilated. And you have a Crown Prince who appears like he may be in way over his head. Now, remember what you know about family squabbles, right? We talked about this. We've all experienced this. Consider this piece of news I'm about to share with you. Prince Ahmad bin Abdulaziz, this is the younger brother of King Salman. He's returning to Saudi Arabia after a prolonged absence in London. Okay, why is this so important? Because he has been in exile. Okay, he's the brother of the king. Because he's been a consistent critic of the Crown Prince bin Salman. And because Saudi watchers are saying the reason he's going there is to take on bin Salman or find somebody who will. By the way, this king's brother, who's going back to Saudi Arabia, as I just told you, he's going to be going back with a security detail supplied by the United States and UK officials. Are we on the verge of a power struggle in Saudi Arabia? Legitimate question, right? It's with that question that we begin our newscast tonight. This is RT America. All right, now to the part we talked about, kingdom in chaos. And tonight, Turkey is talking officially about the murder of Jamal Kashoggi. In the past, Turkish officials had stayed away from publicly blaming Saudi Arabia for the killing. But tonight, a senior spokesperson from the ruling AK party is saying publicly that the killing could not have been carried out without orders from someone in a senior position in Saudi Arabia. And the rest of the world, including U.S. intelligence officials, seem to agree on this, especially in light of the fact that the United States Secretary of War, as we told you, is now calling for a ceasefire, and U.S. security officials are accompanying the king's brother back to Saudi Arabia for what is starting to look like a power struggle. All right, let's go to Michael Maloof. Michael Maloof worked at the Pentagon. Michael Maloof knows this part of the world. Michael Maloof is here with us now to help us try to understand. This whole thing, Michael, is so fascinating that suddenly, with everything that we've been reporting, and you know, we've been all over this story in the last couple of days, the brother of the king is going back to Saudi Arabia. This is a man who was in exile. This is a man who's been critical of what, his cousin or, the crown prince?
Nephew.
What's going on?
It's that there's a rebellion within. It's growing. It's fomenting. And MBS, or Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, has upset the leadership so much. It was interesting that the level of the brother to the king is basically an untouchable. Otherwise, he would have been purged. But the fact is now he's had enough of MBS, and he's actually going to go back and confront and try to get others, because
this is This is crazy.
I mean, we've got some internal problems, and I think it's also being complicit by the United States and Great Britain.
Okay. Let me get to that. The fact that in this report that you and I have been reading today, according to some intelligence information, the United States and the UK are supplying him with some kind of security detail to go back there, suggests the potential that the United States and Great Britain are in on this possible plan to remove the Crown Prince, and that the king or some others in the family may be in on it as well.
Right, and what you're seeing here is even a lot of struggle even within the U.S. government, within the Trump administration, because if the Trump administration doesn't act, Congress may. And
I'm so glad you said that, and I hate to interrupt you, but do you think Mattis did this yesterday on his own without even checking with the president? No, and with Pompeo following hours later saying the same thing, this is something that is developing now within the Trump administration. But why wouldn't he do that without? Why wouldn't the president say something? The president tweets about everything. Why wouldn't the president say, "I'm going to start doing something about this war in Yemen"? Why would Mattis have to do that without the president? Mattis and Pompeo would not have said it without the blessing of the president. All right, I have to ask you, given what's going on right now, what the reaction is going to be from Saudi Arabia, because we were talking about this earlier in our editorial meeting. What if the Crown Prince were to say, when they try to get him out, you know what, I ain't going anywhere, and a pox on all of your houses, and if you mess with me too much, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure I change the price of oil worldwide and create an economic catastrophe worldwide. Well, he could begin to try that. However, I think that the wheels are already in motion to try and replace MBS with someone who is more compatible with the West. Already we have Congress, Lindsey Graham saying that he's got to go. But this is a monarchy. This is not a democracy. You don't just go in there and take somebody out. This is not going to be clean. This is going to get dirty. This is going to get dirty, and I think what they're hoping for is that the U.S. and Britain and the other Western powers support somebody who will carry that out. Now, we may be a little premature in saying that it's going to happen, but things are happening. Stop. You just used some words that got my interest. Carry that out. Carry that out are usually used by military people when they're talking about a hit. Well, what did you mean? Basically that. Really? You think this guy could be taken out? Yes. Internally, I think it's conceivable, because MBS has upset so many members of the royal family. He's made tremendous enemies from within, and it's just a question of time. Why would the brother of the king return, come back out of exile and go back into the kingdom if he wasn't feeling that he had some kind of support? This is amazing stuff. It is. Michael, and you know what? You and I have been talking about this all morning long, and it's still not even morning anymore. It's intriguing, and we're going to follow it, and we thank you for sharing your wisdom on this. Well, thanks for having me. It's amazing stuff that could be happening very soon here. Thank you, Michael Maloof. Thank you. All right.
بسهلك بحبك